Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a deck profile and a quick recap of the 6 Halloween cups that I attended in October. So a lot of cups. The first 2 cups actually were set 1 only, so it's completely different meta. Once set 2 came out, there was a whole new meta basically. You know, restricted list happened. Reine is basically top deck now, but there's still also a couple other decks that are not Reine that are still pretty good in the meta. So today I'm going to be going over the decks that I played for the 6 Halloween Cups, plus a deck profile of the deck that I did the best with. Spoiler alert, it is a Reine deck. Alright, and we're back. If you're just interested in looking at the deck list, it will be down below in the description. I will be going over it a bit, talking about what cards I'm playing, different things you can put in. There's about 3 different Reine variants right now that I'd say are pretty good. You can either go Reine with Iofi, Reine with Mori, or Reine with Zeta. I think all 3 are pretty good. They have pros and cons depending on what you're going with. I personally went with Reine Iofi because I felt like it was the most consistent deck and it was the most aggressive. So it allows you to take multiple knockouts at once once you get set up in the mid game. So we're going to go over that right now. We are going to be running the Ollie Oshi, mostly for the SP skill, the pay 2, where you get to draw 4, pitch 2, and then bloom a Holomem from your archive. It gives you the extra consistency to dig through your deck. Maybe you're missing out on finding a limited card, maybe you're missing out on finding your second Reine or your second Iofi, certain pieces. It just gives you the extra consistency. The other Reine variants are playing 6 life leaders. The 5 life Ollie puts you at a little bit of a disadvantage, but I think it makes up for it with the consistency and the aggressiveness that you can get in the mid game to close out the games. Really quick, we're just going to go over the cheers. Pretty straightforward if you're playing Reine. 10 green, 3 white, 3 red, 2 blue, and then 2 purple. We're going a little bit heavier on the white just because of the debut Iofi right here. We're only playing 1 copy of it. But when you collab with it, it lets you get either a white or a green cheer back from your archive and puts on your center. It's relevant. I maybe used it like once or twice in the game. This Reine is probably the one that you're going to be using more often, where you get to collab and send any color cheer from your archive to any of your characters. So it's, I wouldn't say better, mostly better. It has 60 HP as opposed to 70, which can make a little bit of a difference. But yeah, just getting any color and putting it anywhere, I think it's a lot better overall. So first off, let's go with the Iofi line. So we're playing 3 debuts. We're playing 2 copies of the basic Iofi from the set 1 booster, and then 1 copy of the starter deck Iofi from the Swarovski starter deck. After that, we're going to play 4 copies of the first. The on bloom effects lets you send the top card of your cheer deck to any of your ID Holomem that isn't Iofi, which is fine because you're going to be putting it on Reine most of the time anyways. And then lastly, we're going to be playing 3 copies of the second Iofi. Pretty solid secondary attacker. Just needs 3 energy, 1 green, 2 of any other color. And as long as your stage has another Holomem ID that isn't Iofi, which is going to be the Reine obviously, in this deck, it does 150 damage, and if it's hitting a blue Holomem, it gets to do an extra 50 damage, brings it up to 200. The main reason we're playing it is for the collab effect. It lets you send up to 3 cheers from your archive to 1 of each of your Holomem. So let's say you have at least 3 Holomem in play, you collab with the Iofi second, you can choose 3 different colors, or 3 cheers in your archive, any color. Put 1 on each of those Holomems. Lets you accelerate once your first Reine goes down. Once you get this powered up, plus the Reine in your center, lets you take some double knockouts, and then lets you kind of pull ahead in the game. Okay, and then for the debut Reines, we're going to be running 6 copies of the basic one from the booster, and then 2 copies of the collab one. Mostly because you don't want to start with it. You don't want to risk it getting knocked out if you're going second. So it's a little bit of a liability. So we're only going to play 2 copies of that. Let's go over to the first Reines. It's a little bit of a split. We're going to be playing 3 copies of this first Reine. Vanilla, but has 160 HP. Really tanky. make sure it doesn't get knocked out early game. Pretty good target for going into first. And then for 2 energy, it does 50 damage. So pretty solid overall. Okay, and then next we're going to be playing 2 copies of this first Reine with the Bloom ability. It lets you restore 10 HP to one of your Holomem for each cheer color on your stage. At max, you can heal up to 50 HP from one of your characters. Really good for keeping your second Reine alive once it's taken like 1 hit, or maybe a couple hits, who knows. Plus the arts attack, which lets you deal 20 and then send a cheer from your archive to any of your Holomem, can be clutch at some points. You can go like maybe your first second Reine gets knocked out. You can promote your second one, but maybe you don't have enough cheer on board. Or if you're playing against an opposing Reine, they have 220 HP. You can attach a energy to this first Reine, collab with it, poke their center for 20, and then power up your second Reine, or maybe something in the back. And then since you have 5 cheers on board, you can swing for 200 damage, and then take a knockout on the opposing Reine that you poked into at first with this Reine. It's just really good overall. Gets you a little bit of flexibility. You get some heals. You get some energy ramp back from your archive. Okay, and the main first that we're going to be playing is this one. 130 HP on Bloom. You get to search and reveal a Tatang from your deck and add it to your hand. We'll go over the mascot in a minute. It's really good. And then for 2 energy, you get to deal 40 damage. And then if your stage has at least 2 colors on board, it gets to deal an extra 20. Putting up to 60 damage. So really solid. The Tatang's really good. It's gonna give your second Reine some extra damage. Actually, let's go show the Tatang right now. Alright, so here's the mascot, Tatang. Whenever this is attached to, it gets an extra 10 damage. Plus, if it's attached to any Reine, that Reine gets plus 30 HP, which will make your second really tanky. Your second has 190. This puts it up to 220. That 220 HP makes it so it's really hard to one-hit KO the second Reine. Okay, and then here we go. Star of the show. What the whole deck is built around. We have the second Reine, 190 HP. Bloom effect on Bloom. You get to search your cheer deck for 1 cheer, any color, and then you can send it to any of your Holomems. Really good for powering up your second Reine, or maybe powering up another attacker in the back. Plus maybe you're missing a certain color cheer. This lets you grab it and put it anywhere on your board. Okay, and then the arts attack, it does 100 damage, and then it gets plus 20 for each cheer color on your board. So right now we have green, white, red, blue, purple, so that's 5. So you can do a total of 200 damage. Plus if you're hitting into something that's white Holomem, that's 250 damage. This lets you take a lot of knockouts. The important thing right now is it doesn't let you one-shot an opposing Reine, since if you have a Tatang attached, the Reine is going to have 220 HP. But we do have a couple tech cards for getting the extra 20 damage. So you can you one-shot opposing Reines. We'll talk about those in a minute. Speaking of that tech card, it's going to be Explosion Magic right here. We're only playing 2 copies because you don't want to get stuck in your hand. But it says you can deal 20 special damage to your opponent's center or collab Holomem. And you can only play 1 event with magic each turn. So it's a hard once per turn on this. That's why you're only running 2 copies. But it lets you get that extra 20 damage that you need to knock out an opposing Reine with a Tatang attached. Alright, next we're going to go over the limiteds. We're going to be playing 1 copy of So That Makes You My Enemy. I feel like most decks, you want at least 1 copy. I could see a reason for maybe cutting something and running 2 of these, just because of how important it is to bring certain characters up from the back. Helps you win certain matchups. But for the tournaments that I was playing in, I was only running it at 1 copy. Alright, the next limited that we're playing is the Mikroni 24. This came out in set 2. So this new limited card is really good for helping you set up early game. On play, you get to draw 2 cards, then you roll a die. If you roll a 3, 5, or a 6, you get to reveal a debut Holomem from your deck and add it to your hand. And then if you roll a 2 or a 4, you get to draw an extra card, so it turns into a Notica. But if you roll a 1, it is just a draw 2. So there is a little bit of a risk in playing this card, but I think the risk is worth it, just for letting you search out that debut half the time. Helps you set up in the early game. Playing 4 copies of that. Next one, we're going to be playing 3 copies of the Notica. Simple, straightforward, just draw 3 cards. Gets you the extra consistency. The other limited we are playing is 2 copies of Amazing PC. Since the whole deck is centered around the Reine second, you want to make sure you see it every game. Especially turn 3 when you're ready to go into it. So this says you play it, archive a cheer on your stage, and then you get to search your deck for either a first or a second Holomem, and then add to your hand. Getting rid of a cheer is a little bit of a cost, especially if you're doing it like turn 3, turn 2, but since we're playing Iofi, we get some extra energy ramp, so I think the payoff is worth it for the cost. And then of course, we're going to be playing 4 copies of normal PC, lets you set up that Iofi since we're only running 3, lets you get the Reine with the collab ability if you need it, good card. And then one other thing I forgot to mention, one other reason we're playing the Ollie leader is the other Oshi skill, the zombie tactics. Once per turn you can pay 2 holo power, and then you get to bloom 1 Holomem with ID Gen 2 using a Holomem from your archive. Really good in case you're not able to draw into more copies of your second Reine, as long as you're able to set up a bunch of firsts on your board. If your opponent takes a knockout on one of your first Reines and you're not able to see another one, you can pay that 2 and then bloom that Reine that just got knocked out from the previous turn. Like I'm saying, you're kind of trading out the 5 life over the 6 life for some extra consistency to making sure you're able to attack and do your game plan every time. Alright, and then now I'm just going to go over the Halloween Cups that I played in over this past this month. Yeah, so I played in 6 of the Halloween Cups. The first 2 I ended up playing Kanata, since it's probably more like either you play Kanata or Promise for set 1, right? If you want to win. It's like the 2 best decks. So I ended up going with Kanata. I didn't do very well, didn't win either of those. I think the highest place that I got was like 5th place with Kanata, which is okay, but you know, only first place gets the Cali promo, and then of course they raffle it off, the second copy, which lucky for me, my buddy ended up winning one of the raffles, and then I ended up getting the card off of him. So I do have a Cali. Luckily I was able to get it after the second tournament that we went to. Alright, and then for the third tournament, I already had the Cali promo, and since this was the first tournament in the new set 2 meta, I wanted to play something a little fun, so I ended up playing Cali and Narissa. Overall, that deck was okay. I definitely needed to make some changes. There wasn't enough energy ramp, so I definitely need to put in some Chloes, either cut Narissa entirely, unfortunately, or somehow add Chloe into the mix. So it's kind of going back to the drawing board with that. I ended up only winning 1 of the 3 rounds that I played with that Cali Narissa deck. When I played, first round I played against Reine. They won pretty easily. Round 2 I actually ended up playing against the only other person playing Cali leader. They were playing the Takamori deck. They were playing Cali and Kiara. And then it was a close game, but the other guy ended up winning that one. So unfortunately I already went down 2. And then last round I played against another guy playing a Kiara Louis deck, and I ended up winning that one, luckily. Cali got 1 win when I played it, but overall didn't do too well that tournament. Alright, and then on to the last 3 tournaments that I played. I actually ended up playing 2 of the Halloween tournaments on the same day. They ended up happening both on a Sunday, and then the third one actually happened the next day on that Monday. So it was kind of like a gauntlet, back to back to back. And then for all 3 of those tournaments, I did end up playing this deck that I'm previewing right now, the Reine Iofi deck with the Ollie leader. Yeah, so the first tournament that I played this deck with, the Reine Iofi deck, I ended up getting 8th place. I went 2-1 after the 3 rounds, so wasn't enough top 4. I think they ended up cutting to top 4. I think it was just all the undefeateds that got to play, something like that. Anyways, didn't end up winning that one. But that same day, we went to a tournament, I think it was like, I don't know, 5 hours later or something. And I ended up going undefeated. I played the only other undefeated guy in the finals, and I lost, unfortunately. I was able to set up. I was doing my thing. I had double second Reines. I had a second Iofi already on board. My opponent in the finals was also playing a Reine deck. He was playing Reine Zeta with the Ozki leader, which lets you manipulate your dice rolls. So you can use it to, you can use the Ozki when you roll with your Zeta to make sure you guarantee negating the damage. It didn't end up coming up, actually, funny enough. I ended up setting up my board. He did too. And then I played only one limited that whole game. Ran out of gas. My opponent didn't. And I ended up losing, unfortunately. So that's how the finals went for that second tournament run. And then this last tournament that I played at on Monday, the next day, drove maybe about an hour and a half. It was like me and 3 friends. We get there, I think it was about 16 players in the tournament. Round 1, paired up against my friend that I drove there with. Round 2, played the other friend that I drove there with. Round 3, played the last guy that I drove there with. So overall I went and played every single person that I drove to the tournament with, and then got to the finals. Played against this cool guy. He was playing a Suicide deck. He ended up setting everything up. He got like Suicide set up, he got like double Chloe's going, and it was just too much. He ended up taking a double knockout. He took a nice early game knockout with his Suicide leader skill, since the Suicide lets you ping 50 damage to a Hololive that's taking damage in the back row. He was able to bloom into the first Suicide, ping 20 to this back Iofi, pay the 2, and then deal 50 to knock out the Iofi to take a life lead. And then from there he was able to take a double knockout later on one of my Reines plus one of my Iofis, which does deal 50 damage to blue, which would have been a pretty big threat. But overall, he just saw everything he needed, and he ended up winning that one. So another loss for me. Little unfortunate, but at least I ended up winning one Callie through the raffle. Well, my friend did, and then I ended up getting it. It would have been nice to at least win one of these tournaments, but you know, getting second place twice in a row, maybe I just got a little unlucky. But overall, it was a fun time. And then now we're just gonna get ready for Bloom Cups coming up, both regular Bloom Cups and the Bloom Cups DXs. So I'm gonna be looking forward to that. We'll see. Might change up this deck a bit. I think I'm already thinking about making some changes. I'll update and let you guys know if I end up making some changes and liking them. Maybe I'll do another updated deck profile. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I'm gonna try to get up some more gameplay videos. No promises, but I'm hoping I can. I know I haven't been able to upload. I haven't uploaded any gameplay videos in probably at least a month. I'm sorry about that, but been a little busy. What can you do? Alright guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys later.